The big day has finally arrived. The NBA draft went down tonight, and let's just say there is a lot to talk about. In the coming days, I will continue to bring plenty of post-draft related content, but today we're going to be analyzing the top 10 picks made. Specifically, we will be going through each pick made in the top 10, and we'll be giving a grade to each selection based on a combination of the player's talent, his fit with the team, and whether or not the pick was a reach or not. Sometimes top talent slips and a team comes away with a big steal, and sometimes teams overthink things and draft a player much earlier than he probably should have gone, so we'll see how that went tonight. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting off with the first pick in the draft this year, the Orlando Magic selected Paolo Banchero, and the grade here is a solid A. This came as a pretty big surprise to many, as almost through the entire pre-draft process saw them reportedly interested in either Jabari Smith or Chet Holmgren, and they never even worked out Paolo Banchero, but I like them picking him here for a variety of reasons. With Banchero, he's the player in this year's top 3 that, even though he probably has the lowest defensive ceiling, he has the highest offensive ceiling, and that matters a ton when discussing the number 1 overall guy. When you give him the ball, he's always ready to attack off the dribble, he has outstanding footwork for a player his age, he's dominant in the mid-range, and he's strong and physical enough around the basket to finish through contact. He will need to improve as an outside shooter to become the star talent that we all think he can become, but regardless, he's got a bright future in Orlando. Next up is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, with the second pick, selected Chet Holmgren, and the grade here is another A. I'll say it right now, this year's draft had a clear top 3, so the top 3 picks will all be getting good grades because nothing crazy happened. Part of what goes into these grades is the fit between the prospect and the team, and I absolutely love this pairing. The Thunder are still several years away from seriously competing, and have demonstrated their priority is on fully developing their young talent for the future, and when Holmgren enters the NBA, that is exactly what he is going to need. In a low-pressure situation, he'll get plenty of minutes to adjust to the league's physicality, while he works on adding muscle over time the next few years. The Thunder also not only needed a center to add to their core, but they're also in major need of perimeter shooting, so adding a center that can knock down threes as reliably as Holmgren does, while he's also a shot-blocking machine that can get out and run in transition, will make the Thunder even more of a fun team to watch. Next, with the third pick, the Houston Rockets selected Jabari Smith, and the grade here is, surprise surprise, another A. Most thought Smith was going to go number 1 overall tonight, but the Rockets will be very happy to snag him third here. If I'm being honest, Smith is probably the top 3 prospect that fits in best with the Rockets' young core because they already have a go-to scorer in Jalen Green to continue to develop, and they're in desperate need of defensive impact, and Smith at the NBA level is built to be a secondary offensive scoring option that knocks down threes at an elite level and takes advantage of mismatches, and then defensively, he's the whole package that can defend all 5 positions at a pretty high level, which again is crucial for this young Rockets team, and he not only plays a position of need, but he can do a lot of the little things that help teams win games. Next up, with the fourth pick, the Sacramento Kings select Keegan Murray, and the grade here is a C. I'll be honest, this pick feels more like the Kings are trying to play it ultra safe instead of taking the best player available, and when you're picking this early on, that strategy tends to backfire. Everyone talks about this year's class being a draft with 3 clear top players, but Jaden Ivey is the clear-cut 4th best guy available, so passing on him very likely could bite them in the butt down the line. The Kings are trying to win now, and Murray is one of the oldest players in the draft ready to make an immediate impact, so in that regard it's fine, but realistically, they still have a long way to go before they're competing for anything significant, and passing on a talent like Ivy for this short-sighted goal is not a move that I'm a very big fan of. Next up, with the 5th pick, the Detroit Pistons selected Jaden Ivey, and the grade here is a very strong A. Pistons fans were incredibly disappointed on lottery night when they came away with the 5th pick, but having Ivy fall to them here makes a lot of that pain go away. They just drafted Cade Cunningham last year to build around, and now they have his backcourt running mate to pair with him for the foreseeable future, and as a duo, I really like their fit. Cade is a more under-control ball handler with terrific court vision and a fluid ability to create shots for himself, then Ivy can switch things up and push the pace with his blistering speed and explosiveness around the rim. This young backcourt can now give you a little bit of everything, and the Pistons' rebuild is off to a strong start. Up next with the 6th pick, the Indiana Pacers select Bennedict Mathurin, and the grade here is a B-. Mathurin is a player who was a fringe lottery talent for most of the season until he exploded in March Madness, and then he followed that up by reportedly killing it in a ton of personal workouts with teams in the pre-draft process, resulting in him shooting up draft boards here. The Pacers just traded for Tyrese Halliburton to be their floor general to build around during their rebuild, and Mathurin will now be sliding in alongside him in the backcourt to be a scoring threat that will benefit from Halliburton's playmaking ability. I like the fit here a ton because I don't think Mathurin is someone that would excel in a role where the ball was in his hands too much, but Halliburton will make his life a lot easier early on so he can focus on his strengths, which are getting to his spots as a cutter, knocking down shots, and attacking the basket. In my personal opinion, there were better shot creating guards available here, so the pick felt like a safe one, but not an ambitious one. Next, with the 7th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers selected Shaedon Sharpe, and the grade here is an A. Listen, I know Sharpe is still a pretty big mystery to most because of his lack of experience playing against next-level competition, but he legitimately has the upside to end up being possibly the best player from this class, and while there are a lot of things that will need to go right for him to get there, I love the Blazers as a team to take that risk. The Blazers right now are in a mode where they're basically trying one last time to build around Damian Lillard and win games with him around there, but if it doesn't work out, then a rebuild might be on the horizon for them. If they go that route, Sharpe is an incredible place to start as someone who arguably has the highest offensive ceiling in the class as a shot creator, finisher at the rim, and outside shooter. He's a big guard with a smooth handle that can jump out of the gym, and while some might not be as bought in on him as I am, I'm very high on Sharpe's potential. Next up with the 8th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Dyson Daniels, and the grade here is a B+. Daniels impressed scouts a ton in his time with the G League Ignite program, not because he's a flashy player that scores a ton of points, but instead because he's the kind of player that does the little things to win games while playing a selfless brand of basketball. The Pelicans are shifting more towards contending now, and they have enough go-to scorers in Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum, so a youngster like Daniels could prove valuable in their rotation because of his playmaking skills and defensive tenacity. Next up, the San Antonio Spurs selected Jeremy Sohan, and the grade here is a C+. The Spurs are one of the best organizations at developing talent, but if I'm being completely honest, it feels like for the second year in a row, the Spurs have reached kinda hard with who they selected after taking Josh Primo in the lottery last year. Sohan is a player that brings a ton of versatility defensively. He's a smart player as a 6'9" forward that has good court vision and a natural ability to find the open man, but offensively his upside is pretty limited as a scorer. He projects as a strong role player, which is fine, but not the kind of thing that most teams look for in the top 10 of a draft. And finally, with the 10th pick, the Washington Wizards selected Johnny Davis, and the grade here is a nice B+. Davis has an incredibly natural ability to score the ball, who has an incredibly advanced mid-range game in his arsenal. He comfortably gets into the paint and finishes well inside, and he's also one of the best rebounding guards you'll see too, having grabbed 8 per game last season. His numbers became slightly skewed after he tried to play through an injury in the second half of the season, which hurt his overall efficiency, but at full strength, he's one of the best scoring talents available this year, and in Washington, he'll be a beneficial addition, all things considered. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would grade all of these picks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.